12 people.
That's more than 11.
It's more than 11. It is. All right, we should be live. Let me make sure that it's working. Okay, it is working. It is working. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first live show of Survivor Maryland Era 2, Season 6. Hopefully you enjoyed the premiere. As you may know, I am the new host of Survivor Maryland, Anders. You may notice I'm dressed up. It's because I wanted to for this and not because I had worked. I have a wonderful array of guests, but before we get into that, I just want to say for anyone who hasn't watched Survivor Maryland All-Stars, this is your spoiler warning. If you want to enjoy All-Stars to its maximum capacity, please do not watch this until you've done so. Then come back and watch this. All right, that's your warning because we may mention All-Stars spoilers in it. All right, now let's get into who is joining me for this beautiful premiere live show. We're going to start with the only person here who is also from Survivor Maryland, Chris Thomas, the winner of Survivor Maryland All-Stars. Chris, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Anders?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm elated. Chris, how have you been in the couple months since All-Star has premiered? Has ended?
Good. So I recently went to law school. It's pretty much taken up all my time, but I'm alive, I did well, so everything's going good so far.
Love it. Beautiful as always. All right, next, I'm going to go with the Survivor Maryland super fan of all super fans, Jack.
Oh, hey, that's me.
Jack, would you mind giving a little introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Jack. I'm just a young college student who happens to be a Survivor Maryland super fan. I pretty much run the wiki, so everything that's on there, pretty much I did everything. So you're welcome.
Jack, that's a wonderful shirt you have. Do you mind if I see it a little bit?
Wow, is this a Furiosa t-shirt from Survivor Maryland All-Stars, aka the better tribe of the two? Wow, it's the whole thing. It's so fancy. Thanks, Austin.
All right, and now I'm going to turn it over to the host of Survivor OSU Time and Change, Mr. Greg.
Hello, my name is Greg. That's about all I have to say.
Yep, he's the host of Survivor Maryland Ohio State, or whatever they want. The Ohio State.
All right, all right. Anyways, I'm Greg. Yeah, I just graduated actually the same time as Anders, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ran 3 seasons at Ohio State. Started it here because of everything Austin did, and now editing my life away. So yeah.
Lit, relatable. All right, and then finally we have the 2 hosts of the coldest Survivor I know, Survivor Boston.
Hello, I am Charlie. I'm one of the hosts of Survivor Boston. Yeah.
Are you still in college?
Yeah, we're both still juniors in college. God. We're about to film our 5th season actually this Friday, so it's exciting.
Yeah, I'll butt in here. I'm the other host. I'm also still in school, as Charlie just said, about to film our 5th season, as Charlie just said, this Friday. So it's devouring our lives, and we're excited, and I'm ready to talk some Survivor Maryland. Let's do it.
Anders is on mute.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just doing something real quick. All right,
no, leave it that way. Leave it that way.
So yes, this was the first episode. It was only an hour long. What did you guys think of it? What were your first impressions? This is a new Survivor Maryland. No one from the old season is back, except in the background.
I mean,
what were your impressions?
As I think that there are a lot of just standout kind of characters from this original episode. I don't think we can go any further without even mentioning Tony. He just has to be mentioned here. If I have to go take a piss 3 to 4 times during this live stream, just letting everyone know, he's immediately he's that first character we now have from this new generation. So he's currently one of the main faces. And while all of his strategy throughout this episode may have been questionable, making one stronger tribe so that he can inevitably join it somehow when they definitely lose that first challenge. I'm excited to see his story, and hopefully it doesn't come to dramatic end in the next episode because it's
Does he
very
know how to smile? Does anyone know? I just saw him looming in the background the entire time in the challenge. Like you just see him sitting there, straight faced.
All right. So did I not understand his strategy? Was the whole point that he made the one team really good, and so they would lose the first challenge, so he could be on it? Or did I misunderstand that?
That was 100% his
logic's
strategy.
really flawed. Yeah.
That made no sense at all.
It
Okay.
made no sense, yeah. Because then by the losing team, by the worst team winning, that would make them the stronger team. So then that doesn't make any sense anyway.
Okay.
Well,
I
it
thought
almost
was
worked though. They won the first 2 points.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
they
true.
almost.
That's
So-
true.
I would have been so pissed if he actually got that strategy to work for some reason. Like he somehow let himself onto the stronger tribe if they somehow lost a challenge that's literally pure strength. But I might just add, like, I love him so much already. I'm so excited to see what other strategies he comes up with.
Yeah, I was listening to him like his thought process with making it, and I was like, yeah, this would be good. Never. Like it didn't really make any sense. And then I just kind of wish he like took it like a random kind of thing instead of purposely trying to make one tribe stronger, because he would have put himself in such a better position if he like made them kind of like equal in strength. Because now like he's on like a losing tribe already now. So it's just like, what's gonna happen now that he has to face up against Bay Squad, aka like a really strong tribe? So I just want to know how it plays out.
So, Tony is definitely an interesting topic. I mean, he is the driver of the first episode in a lot of ways. He alienates himself immediately with that pussy comment. For you guys, I mean, like, obviously for me, it was very funny because it was unexpected. Do you feel like saying that one comment is, it makes sense why he would be voted out because of it, why he would be the first one targeted?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think instantly in a game like this, if you're making yourself known straight out at the beginning, and then you have a twist like this first impression vote, you might not know anyone else's name except for the guy who's going to the bathroom every 5 seconds and doing stuff like that. So he just giving himself such like a negative impression straight off the bat was kind of like, I love it from a TV perspective, by the way. Like, I want him to continuously do this every episode, but from a strategic social standpoint, that was just so
I think it makes sense that what he said sort of alienated himself even more, because people are, especially with the first impressions twist, people are just looking for anything to go off of. So if you're gonna say something that makes people go like, "Oh, that was kind of weird," even if it's funny, then it's gonna put a target on your back. You don't want to do anything that could potentially like rub people the wrong way.
Anders, I have a quick question for you. So you weren't even there when he said it. Like, what was your reaction when you heard that?
So you're right. I wasn't there. I was waiting for all the players to find me. When I was told by everyone who was there, I first of all was like, I didn't know that this kid would be like this. But I was like, oh, he's done. He's gone. I mean, it's just weird. It was a weird thing to do, but it's very funny. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me he was voted out. I thought it would have been like, Matt, who wasn't talking to anyone, or Shayna, who, I mean, like, she's a little bit standoffish.
Are you standing? Are you gonna stand?
I stand Shayna.
She's my spirit animal officially. I love her in every way, shape, and form.
I thought I wasn't gonna like her just based on her first confessional where she's like, I don't really like these group like scenarios, and I was like, why did you sign up for this competition? Like, it doesn't really make any sense. But as she continued like talking like through confessionals throughout the episode, I was like, okay, I'm a fan now. I kind of like her when she literally like was like, I can't go to this study group, but I have to go. I was like, okay, I see a player in there and I like her.
True.
So Shayna is another one of those standout characters, like you were saying, Jacob, right?
Oh yeah.
So, compared to Tony, who was, I mean, like, bonkers, crazy, just strange. Where would you think Shayna, like, Tony's going to have a hard road ahead of him because of how weird he is. But Shayna, what do you think of her? What's your impression of her?
I think that Tony's not exactly self-aware, but I think Shayna is a little bit. Like, Shayna knows that she's a little bit, I guess, standoffish, but she knows what she has to do. as said before, like she said, "Oh, I don't want to go to this meeting, but I have to." Like I feel like she knows what she has to do in order to get further in the game. Even if she has this sort of crazy personality, like it's not something that's. I don't think it's going to rub people the wrong way too much, and I think she's going to make up for it with her gameplay a little bit. Hopefully.
I also think kind of going off that's oh, sorry, Greg, you go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, please. I want to hear what you have to say.
Someone go.
Well, mine's strategically irrelevant. I was saying, are we still talking? You saying good gameplay from the person who chose someone based on the alphabet? So let's not forget that. Like, I don't know what to expect. Are we going to get someone who just randomly throws out votes based on the name, or is she actually going to be something? I don't know.
I mean, you're forgetting, Greg. You're forgetting, Greg. She voted for the person who went out first. I mean, psychic.
She was the only vote for Meredith in the first.
Oh, true.
She has a perfect voting record. You're not wrong.
I mean, also kind of going off that, you can see it from another perspective where I feel like with this kind of a group, at least just what my read on the group is that they're not all like super fans or big fans of the show. Like some of them just know about Maryland through their siblings or know about Survivor Maryland through, I guess, just through the grapevine of the school. So they might not all be super fans who will overanalyze getting a first vote like that. It could, using that kind of alphabet strategy in this case, not trying to back anyone who played the actual game with an alphabet strategy, but using an alphabet strategy potentially for this first vote could be an easy way to kind of throw the vote away and pretend like it never existed and have someone not really be that mad about it.
I think it's fair. I don't actually think that's anything we should expect from her in the future. I think I said all over my notes that I have, like, I think she's a star. So I was a big Shayna fan. I think she says it how it is. She's going to be someone who, maybe standoffish, but I think that brings out a little competitive side to you. Because if something goes not in her favor, she's going to do all she can to turn it around. So I like her. I'm a big Shayna fan.
Easily. And I think that one difference between her and Tony is that I feel like she's keeping some of her weirdness in her confessional instead of just shouting out every thought in person. Like I think there's a place to say some certain comments, and like that can be in your confessional, where I feel Shayna has slowly started moving towards, while Tony is just, any thought that's in his head is currently out on the field for everybody to see.
So looping back to the first impression vote, Tony was sent out and he decided the tribes. You know, we've touched on it a little about his strategy being a little bit less than perfect. But I mean, it's a hard challenge. You know these people for maybe an hour or two, and then you're asked to divide the tribes. So what would you guys think is like the better idea? Chris, obviously as a player, what would you think the idea would be if you were the person sent out?
I mean, I would just try to make it as fair as possible. I don't know what he was thinking because, you know, the worst tribe, as he calls it, lost, and now he's stuck on that tribe, and the chance that he keeps going to tribal council over and over is a huge chance for him, and he's already got such a big target on his back. So, in my opinion, it wasn't a good move for his game, but we'll see what happens.
And then for everyone else, what is your opinion? How would you have done it? Do you think it was what he was doing was smart in some ways, but just the execution was poor? Like, what are you thinking?
I mean, I think you have to kind of plan for yourself going onto either tribe too. So you don't want one tribe to be blaringly weaker, like what his strategy kind of was. I don't really know if it was a strategy or if it was him just doing whatever came into his head. But like, once again, he makes great TV, but it's more of, you should have tried to make them as even as possible because you don't know where you're going to end up. And I feel like at some point someone will ask him like, hey, how did you make the tribes? Like, did you have any like thoughts in mind? Because no matter what you're thinking while you're giving the people the buffs. So I think the safest way for him in the future would have been just to make them as even as possible.
Didn't really make sense to me either that he made one tribe the strong tribe and he didn't put Eric King's brother on it because he was by far the strongest person. So another flaw in his logic.
But I see you're missing. He listed several qualities.
Right. He said beauty
strongest,
too, right?
Smartest, most attractive.
Most attractive.
Because that matters, right?
It did to Tony. Look,
which category did that fall under?
He's playing to win. He's playing to mate.
He's playing to mate.
Another thing that was interesting about the first vote is that it wasn't just straight Tony. I mean, there were 11 votes for him. But there were also votes for Matt, for Kevel, for Swale, and you saw that Miranda was like, I've already voted for Swale. I want to get rid of him, but I don't want to do it again and like be wrong. But then you also had times where Swale voted for Matt and then was like, me and Matt are working together. And then 11 people voted for Tony. How much do you think that these first votes that you made in the first impression will affect future votes, or will it at all?
I don't think they will much. I think people generally have an understanding that, like, this was kind of spontaneous. Like, oh, Anders put this on us. I think we can forgive each other for just a quick last second vote that we had to think of right on the spot.
Mm-hmm. Kind of going off of that, spoiler for Survivor Boston season 2, we had a really similar twist at the beginning involving first impression votes, and down the line they meant nothing. Frankly, like after that first impression vote completely, it was just an irrelevant factor because you kind of just throw them into a scenario that they weren't expecting, and if anything, it's kind of more telling of how people react in these certain situations. A lot of people decided to key in on like stuff that Tony immediately said, while other people tried to just throw their votes away completely. So I think that's more of like a telling situation than, oh, this person's targeting me.
Yeah, and I think there's a like big like difference between a first impression vote and like a vote at tribal council. Like at tribal council, like you're actively like trying to get that person out, and if they stay in the game, like that's obviously going to cause some tension. This was, hey, you have to vote someone right now really, really quickly, so just write a name down and go. I don't really think that holds as much like merit as a tribal council vote. So I think they should be fine like with working with the people that they voted for in the first impressions or whatever, but I mean like it could be in the back of their minds.
For sure. So, we've gone past the first impression. We have Base Squad, the Pink Tribe, the tribe that Tony made, the stronger, prettier, smarter tribe. I don't know if I would necessarily agree with that description, but when looking at Base Squad, you've seen this first episode. Okay, 7 of them men in the library. Michael and Taylor are on the outs. What are your guys' impressions on Base Squad? Do you think that this early distinction of majority and minority will hold? What are your opinions? What are you thinking? Who stands out?
Ooh.
I'm hoping it doesn't hold because personally on that tribe, my favorite was probably Michael, strictly because he had the Legend of Zelda shirt and he did the challenge barefoot, which I thought was really cool. Sucks for him to be in the outs, but hopefully he can work his way in there.
I honestly think for me, Alex stands out a lot just because I feel like a lot of people go to her to talk to her, and I feel like she's already made like a lot of social connections that she's utilizing, and it seems to be working out for her so far. So
yeah,
that's me.
I totally agree with what Charlie said. Like being the person that people are just naturally going to because you're the person that people feel comfortable with is something that Alex will want down the long run, which is why I can personally see her lasting for a while. And then also totally agreeing with what Chris said. Michael, I love him. He's the person I'm rooting for. Frankly, because he kind of reminds me of me, but if he reminds me of me, that means he's going to do well in this game. But at the same time, like, I think he's the kind of person, he seems social, he seems wanting to be there. Like, I don't think he'll be on the bottom for long.
I also think it might be worth saying, so for Taylor, I can't say the same thing, but with Michael, he's the one who's friends with like Susan and Swale and Thomas, right? So I think Thomas is in that 7. So I don't see any
Thomas
way
is on the other tribe.
Oh, is he? Oh, my notes are effed up. Never mind. But anyways, I just think that, like, as someone who has friends throughout different tribes, he's someone who's well connected enough that he might be able to keep himself alive. Just my take. I don't know.
I mean, as a Taylor stan myself, my hope is that the 7 of them who went to the library don't stick together. I already asked Anders to give Taylor more screen time, but my hope, I agree with how Alex probably has the most connections out of everyone in the cast just based on this episode. And I think she's 100% going deep in this game. And if she doesn't, that'll just be like a very pre-merge thingy that I wouldn't see coming.
Also, like, just thinking about Michael being on the bottom, like, I don't think he's on the very bottom. Like, who was that other person who was left out?
Taylor.
Yeah, sorry. Like, I think as long as Michael has somebody below him, and because I don't think Michael's at that very bare bone bottom yet. Like if he's someone below him, then he's fine for now. Like we've seen it in many scenarios in the actual show, and also frankly with Chris Thomas in All Stars, where he wasn't at the top for a good majority of the game, but he also wasn't at the very bottom. So as long as you're not that last one on the totem pole, you can still survive to see another day.
Yeah, I also personally don't think that 7's going to hold. 7 on a tribe of 9, in my opinion, is too large of a majority, and someone's going to feel like they're on the bottom of that 7, and they're going to start to veer off and do their own thing. It could cause chaos.
I think I was going to say that the fact that they're even like they're not going to tribal, that in itself gives people more time to get to know each other. If they had tribal like the next day, totally the 7 probably is the easiest thing to go to, but they have a couple days here, so I think they're okay.
I want to say, Ambi, yes, I am well dressed to flex on Austin, but also I think it's interesting that you guys are talking about Michael and Taylor and Shayna and Alex, but you're not talking about who I think had the most screen time on Base Squad, Dylan.
Okay, well that's just because I feel like Dylan's just way too overeager, and I feel like he's gonna go into that like downward spiral where he plays too hard too fast just because he's so excited. That's just the read that I get because like
he's the first one to show up.
Listen, he's got to stop that.
I mean, I think like in a perspective where I love that Dylan shows up early to everything because that makes me want to work on like a school project with him because I know he's going to go all out. But that's also the same kind of person that I personally don't really want to be working with in a game like this. I'm interested to see how he plays the rest of this game. I feel like he's more of a question mark for me where I don't want to make a call on him too early. I just know I don't know if I would work with him.
I was just about to talk about Dylan. I really like Dylan because I like how I like that he takes the game pretty seriously. I don't know. I think he just has a good personality too, and he seems to be connecting with people like Alex well, and he's already looking for the idol. I think he's a good character. You guys have good points though, so that he might run into some challenges later. But he is one of my favorites, I think, right now, Dylan and Alex.
Yeah. I think he could last for a while though, because it seems like there's a few people that they did it to have fun. They're kind of into it, whatever. But he seems like one of the people that's way more invested than the rest, and hopefully that should be able to get him at least to merge.
And something else of note of Dylan, we have 2 siblings in this season. We have Miranda, we have Matt. But Dylan is the roommate of Evan, which is not the same. It's not blood relation, but it's close enough. Like you sleep in the same room as someone, you're basically related. Am I right?
Yeah.
But there's not as much to talk about on Base Squad because they won. And it's the first couple days. How much strategizing will there be on a winning tribe of the stronger, superior tribe? So let's talk about Ferocity, which they came out of the gate really swinging with their name and everything. What are your opinions on Ferocity? I think we got a lot more of a full view of these characters.
I mean, I kind of want to jump to the good old siblings of King and Sabrina for a second.
Not Sabrina, Shannon.
Oh, sorry, that's what I mean. Sorry, Sabrina.
Damn it, Chico.
Yikes.
But I feel like King's brother is literally exactly what I would have imagined him to be. And I'm kind of curious to ask Chris, if you see any similarities in how they were playing with how their siblings were playing.
So it looks like Matt's playing the same way as Eric. But I've said this since All Stars, ended. I thought that Eric King actually had one of the best social games in All Stars, which I don't think a lot of the fans realized, which is that's how he got so far. So, if Matt's playing the exact same game as Eric and Eric's in his ear helping him out a little bit here and there, he could sneak all the way to the end like Eric did.
Interesting.
I might need a refresher on this from All Stars. Weren't Eric and Shannon partners in the partner twist?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, they were.
Not go well for him.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm curious to know, whether or not, depending on if that ended well postseason. Chris, I'm sure you could comment on that. Did Matt and what's her name?
Miranda.
Did Matt and Miranda have a good relationship? Did they have a non-existent relationship?
Are you talking about Eric and Shannon? Or
I'm talking about if the brother and sister worked together based on the other two having with Eric voting out Shannon. I'm curious if that came into play at all.
So I don't think Shannon told her anything. I was dating Shannon at the time when they were playing. So I think she probably would have told me that, but I don't think she told Miranda anything good or bad about Eric. So I don't think it would have affected her opinion of Matt.
Yeah, I was just curious.
I like the tribe though. I think there's a lot of like likable people in general in the tribe, which is what I think made the first vote, I think, kind of hard for all of them. Well, not necessarily hard because they kind of chose a person right away and stuck to it, but there wasn't a lot to go off of the vote. Like they didn't have a big reason for voting off Meredith. It was just kind of like, oh, we need to throw a name out here. And for that reason, I think there's a lot of like I didn't want to see her go, and I didn't want to see anybody else really on that tribe go. So yeah.
On that note, I want to say, in my opinion, the star of the episode was Meredith.
I agree.
And I was absolutely crushed when she got voted off. I was so sad.
No, I agree, because literally from the moment that Shayna voted for Meredith and Meredith had that confessional be like, did you really choose the alphabet strategy? Like, I don't believe it. She was my first favorite of the episode. And I was like, oh, Meredith, I love her so much. And then the episode kept continuing, and then people were throwing her name out. And I was like, please stop. Like, please don't.
I think she's kind of got the raw end of the stick here. Like, she is like I think if you kind of reorganize the tribes, I think she does a little better. So honestly, this is all Tony's fault.
Yeah, it's all Tony. We can blame Tony, but she was stuck in like such like a impossible situation because she was so quiet. Like that walk back from the challenge was so awkward, but I appreciated that montage of her talking to everyone at their scheduled appointments in the laundry room with her. That was really exciting to watch, and I'm so glad that was included, Anders. I love that.
She loved the laundry room. It made it really easy to end.
But it showed that she really liked that she was playing the game and she was doing everything right. Like she was talking to people like she should. It was just kind of the way things were. She was the first name thrown out. Nobody wanted to like roll the dice or rock the boat or anything. So they just kind of went with it. It's really sad.
Yeah. I mean, that's how at least like I've seen a bunch of first votes go, is that whenever like you have that first name kind of out there, no one else necessarily wants to be that person to try to change that, because then it puts the target on their back kind of early as the person who's playing the game or throwing out alternatives or is like, just playing hard. But, she's robbed. She'll go down in the Survivor Maryland robbed list. There's a lot of them.
I mean, I will give Meredith credit. Like she was trying to play. It's just, as they said, she was very quiet. And, you see these moments where she just sort of, she goes in the background, even when there's two people there. It's just sort of a reservedness to how she speaks and how she shows herself, where a lot of the other people one-on-one are a lot more charismatic than maybe they are in groups.
Mm-hmm.
I also think she lacks a little bit of confidence, and that's always hard to see too, because in the beginning, you really need to put yourself out there in the first week of a game like this. And if you don't, and you could tell, she had a couple of confessionals where she was saying she was kind of uncomfortable. This was something that she really was almost disappointed in the loss, and she was hard on herself. So that didn't really help either. I think that makes it more difficult to kind of turn people to your side when you're not that confident in yourself. So that was hard to see with her too.
And going off of that, I think with her being introverted, it makes me, at least, and I think it makes other people, maybe you guys watching too, kind of root for her a little more too, just because she is introverted. So you want her to do well. Yeah.
I was ready for that story arc of this is where she's really unsure of herself and then she wins in the end, but that we didn't get that. So
yeah, that's why I feel like if she had won this immunity challenge and had more time to get her footing, then she would have benefited, and I think she would have gone a lot longer. I think if you give her another shot at this game, Anders, not that you haven't shot all your seasons already, but
Drew.
Yeah, bring it back.
Next. But I think she's someone who kind of got the short end of the stick by maybe being a little more quiet and a little more reserved, and she just needed a little more time to establish herself. You see it all the time when potential winners of the actual show would have been first out if their tribe had lost.
Nick Wilson, we get it. But another thing during the episode, Meredith and Miranda, two people who didn't perform well in the challenge, are talking about how Steal the Bacon is a poor challenge to strategize strength with, because there's nothing else like it. It clearly favors taller, larger people. How do you guys feel? Do you feel that Steal the Bacon is a fair, arbiter of value for challenge strength, or is it something completely different?
I actually had a question on that, Anders. So there was a round where I think you had a guy and a girl go up against each other. Did you try to discriminate that and just make it so that if like there was a guy and girl going, make it even?
So the way it was is they ordered it 1 through 9, and we just put the numbers together. And it just so happened that Meredith and Kevel were matched together. And I will say they are not the same at all in terms of strength. So it was just it was the luck of the draw. They chose these numbers based on whatever.
To put that to bed, though, I think it was the third season of Austin's. There was 2 girls against 2 guys, and the 2 girls won. So.
Oh yeah, I'm not trying to make a. Yeah, I was just curious to know like if you tried to maybe make it so they could strategize around that, or if it was all random numbers.
It was all random numbers. I mean, they chose it, and then we had an order of numbers we would do. But like their number ones were both female, and then their number twos were both male. For all we know, it could have been Dawn versus Faith. And honestly, you saw how Matt juked Dawn. Faith could have done it too.
Yeah, that was dirty. That was dirty.
I mean, I think with this challenge, we kind of saw, I think it's Emily was her name, who kind of jumped on if it was like mental, like I would be able to step up and actually be able to help. And I think that was, I guess, kind of smarter for her in this scenario because there's like a wide variety of what potential challenges could be. And you're not going to do steal the bacon a second time. So you don't necessarily need like that brute force strength for a while, at least, because I feel like you wouldn't necessarily repeat challenges that often. So while it can be a determiner of like who the more physically like built people are on your tribe, like at the same time, there were people who are capitalizing on what they could possibly bring to the tribe, which I think in this situation is smart when they had absolutely no way of showing like how to do it in this kind of a challenge.
Yeah, I think this challenge has the potential to show like a lot of people's strengths and a lot of people's weaknesses. But like Faith said in the episode, only 4 different people from Ferocity scored points. Like Faith, Matt, Emily, and someone else I'm forgetting. But like
Matt got 2. Yeah, Matt got 2.
Oh, it was just those 3? All right. So just those 3 people. So like those were the only 3 people who could say they were strong. Even though Abel said that like all the men showed their strengths, then not all the women didn't. Now I was like, okay, that was a little questionable, but I was like, all right, whatever, we'll just roll with that. But I think it does have the potential to show the strengths.
So I will say this. There was a part I cut out of the show because it ultimately didn't affect the challenge. We did a 3-person round where it was Thomas, Swally, and Susan versus Dylan, Alex, and Knock Me. But really, that just turned into like a snake of wriggling body parts all over this bacon because like everyone was just pulling on each other. It was like a solid 2 minutes of nothing, which is why it wasn't included. But you have Swally and Thomas, 2 of these shorter people, versus Dylan and Knock Me, who are taller. Do you not know who Knock Me is? He didn't have any confessionals. That's fine. He was.
I was just wondering what his name was.
I know who he is.
His name is Knock Me. Not that the players knew that.
What does height have to do with it, though?
I mean, height gives you. Height can affect strength. I mean, if you're taller, you usually weigh a little bit more, and then it gives you a little bit more strength in Steal the Bacon.
And I guess longer strides, because in Maryland Outback, Crystal Comp just kind of like scooted in and grabbed it a few times without making any contact with any other players. So I guess that could help.
Was Abel the one who said something about the strength on the tribe? Because isn't he the personal trainer and he lost his rounds?
Okay, so we've talked about the challenge. All right, we talked about Meredith. We've talked about Miranda and Matt. What about the other 6 people?
So to me, Abel really stood out. He seemed like he was the one kind of running that tribe, driving the car. Seemed like he had a really good social game. And he is the final 2 deal with Alex on the other tribe. If somebody told me about a final 2 deal on the first day of the game, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. That's bullshit. But, maybe it'll work for him. Maybe he knows her really well or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of going off that, you do see him playing a lot. And while I don't think his name was really shouted out at all, or if I remember even once, but he is definitely playing the game. And I love watching people actually play the game because I think down the line, he's going to be the kind of one that's trying to make moves or trying to, change the way that the game is going. But I do think at a certain point that will kind of bite him in the ass because he is the one that also has a final 2 deal 3 seconds into this game. Like, I hope it doesn't bite him in the ass because I love it when people who are actually playing do well and go far in the game. And I think he does have winning potential, but I do see his massive gameplay now potentially hurting him down the line.
I think Swale. I think he had potential to be going home, especially after he arrived like 45 minutes late on the first day. But I think he was able to recover well in before the tribal council, because there were a lot of clips of him talking to other people, strategizing just to make sure that he had the numbers. So I think he was able to sort of prevent the votes from shifting towards him when Miranda's her name, right?
Yep.
When Miranda was trying to push for Swale.
Yeah, and there was a confessional with Swally where he said he was feeling like he was in danger because Emily, Miranda, and Meredith like didn't reach out to him.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me question Emily and Miranda's like strategic like sense. Because I mean, if the vote was obviously going to be Meredith, I wouldn't, or like between Swale and Meredith at least, I don't know why they wouldn't just be like, yeah, Swale, it's Meredith, don't worry, you're good. Instead of like making him worry like that and having to go to Susan, who's like dying in bed of food poisoning, like trying to like make sure he's okay.
So Susan she did have food poisoning. She wasn't at tribal. She couldn't really strategize with people. Do you think it would have been realistic if she had been voted out?
100%.
Yeah.
That's personally what I was hoping for.
But we've learned from Legend Marissa Horn. From Legend Marissa Horn that you can attend tribal council via FaceTime and be A-okay.
Yeah, I would also say if like there's a set plan going in, the plan, I mean, we've seen situations where this doesn't happen, but like the plan rarely changes at tribal. Like a lot of times questions are just kind of like the filler until the vote. So I wouldn't even think if she had a set plan, they're not going to flip it on her just because she was in FaceTime.
Maybe your questions are filler, Greg.
Oh, please. Who was the leader on the tribe? They got asked like 3 times.
I love how Chris Lecomte was the one casting the vote. That was a good little cameo.
I'm just really glad he voted in the majority. That makes sense.
All right. So what do we think about Emily? What do we think about Miranda? Well, we kind of what do we think about Thomas? What do we think about who else have we not talked about?
Oh, I think we should talk about the Miranda and Thomas elementary school, middle school, high school relationship.
That's a bad look.
That was probably one of my top moments of the episode when Miranda was like, "Oh, I know Thomas from high school. This is gonna be perfect for my game." And Thomas is like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I have to play with Miranda. I don't want to play with her." Like, I just really am interested to see if that dynamic has any factor, because they did have a conversation together where Thomas wasn't in frame for it, so I thought that was really funny. And like, I'm just wondering if that's gonna become a rivalry, if that's gonna be anything. I'm just wondering.
I mean, like, if I put myself in Thomas's shoes, I feel like I would be. I honestly just totally understand where he's coming from. Like, if I'm playing a game like this, I really don't want to play with like anyone that I've had prior contact with, like before I went to college.
Yeah.
Just because they could use literally any part of just knowing me for years potentially against me. Like, there's too much that's there, in my opinion. Like, even if they never really talked that much, you can also be seen as just like a duo just by knowing each other for so long. You don't even have to have one conversation since middle school, but you'll be seen in like one Facebook picture at like high school graduation together, and that's enough for people to say you're a duo no matter what. And the second you're labeled a duo, it's really hard to kind of get that whole label off you.
I would also be worried if I were going into the game with someone I knew, I would be worried that they were going to get me before I could get them. Like, they were going to turn on me before I could turn on them in that situation. So just the whole idea of like, how long should I stay loyal to them? Should I even stay loyal to them? It's just kind of another complication that you have to deal with.
Exactly why Charlie and I would vote each other off day one.
First.
Speaking of you and Charlie, someone just put this in the.
That was a great question.
What's a worse tribe name? A tribe called Quest or Bay Squad? I'm gonna say it's not the one on my show.
A tribe called Quest is pretty bad.
It's a tribe called Quest.
A tribe called Quest. I will never forgive Moses for ever giving a tribe that name. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, but Bay Squad is also pretty pretty bad. I was hoping they would do like at least Chesapeake Bay would have been better. Like who said Chesapeake Bay? Like that was at least a little bit. That was creative.
Well,
I think
that's
it
where
was
Bay comes
Dom.
from. Bay
I thought
Squad.
they were going somewhere with it. It sounded cool from Chesapeake Bay and everything, and then they went with like the most millennial sounding crap I've ever heard of. Like
There's so many
they put
options.
Bay and Squad in the same word.
And I mean, like, I feel like All Star set the bar so high for Maryland, but tribe names like Furiosa and Urukai, like they're powerful ass names. And then we're just kind of going down a peg or two, which I feel is more relatable to Survivor Boston because all of our tribe names collectively they've come up with have been bad.
You're right. It can never be as good as Steve's tribe and Holly's tribe from season 2.
Our season 1 merge tribe was just merged tribe because they never thought of one.
Yeah, when I added that to the wiki, I kind of wanted to die.
I mean, for half a second, it was Charlie Hates Tomatoes tribe.
Uh,
I would not have done your wiki if that was the tribe name. I'm just telling you now.
I can promise you the tribe names get better. How much? Questionable, but they get better. I think this season they said Ferocity and Bay Squad. I'm like, okay. And then I thought about it later and I was like, well, fuck, it's too late, but regret.
Wait, you allowed it?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I was
you didn't
young and
have, like-
naive, Greg.
Okay, for what it's worth, not on this podcast or whatever this is. I don't know, this webcast, but like, ask me about my season 3 merge tribe name.
Us
That's a
too,
great
yeah.
story.
Us too.
It's erased from the edit, but ask me about it off camera.
Ours isn't erased from the edit. That's what's upsetting.
Yeah, we let them. Yeah, it's pretty bad. You'll have to wait.
Ambi, were there tribe names I didn't allow? Yeah, I can't remember what they were because they were horrible. How much worse did they have to be to not be accepted when Bay Squad was a good answer? I mean, pretty bad. Like, one of them was like, what if we do a tribe called Quest? I mean,
Good one, dude.
Hey. So also,
him.
so we still haven't talked about Emily or Faith. Actually, now that I think about it, we haven't talked about either of them.
Now, Faith, for me, I think she's playing a good game. I just forget about her every single time I think about Ferocity. Like, I just completely forget she exists. And I wonder if that's just a me problem or if that's just not her leaving a good impression on me. I mean, I'm rooting for her because her last name is Bread and I love
Breeds.
carbs. Oh, it's Breeds? Oh, come on. That just ruined the whole thing. Never mind.
I mean, like, I chose Faith as my pre-pick just because she stood out to me in the 8-minute thing, and me choosing anyone as your pre-pick automatically dooms you. But, you know, I think, like, if you look at it from the perspective of people forgetting about her, I guess that's good for her for now because you might not go home for a couple rounds. But that's also from our watching an edited show perspective. So honestly, if someone can remind me what she did this episode, I would appreciate it so I could actually contribute something.
She's a
She didn't do
sorority
much.
girl. She won 2 points for the challenge.
She got
voted in the
super
majority.
excited about pizza.
She got
and
really
then-
excited about pizza.
Yeah, and then she wasn't hungry anymore. That's all I.
Darn.
I think she went into the first impressions well. To say something good, to say something good about her, I think she approached the first impression well. Like she said she was she was a freshman, right? She was the one who was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a freshman." So
I guess,
like she was a little nervous, but she like came out and like talked about herself and
yeah, like I guess I'll say then like she didn't do anything like bad enough to like earn any negative critique, I guess, which is a good sign. That's good.
See, I personally thought, not to be mean to her, but I think she only had like 1 or 2 confessionals, and the first one I was just like, she seems really, really ditzy. And that is not a good thing to have in Survivor. Maybe it was a bad read on my part, but I don't know. I got a bad vibe from her, so I don't see her going very far.
Oh, you know what I completely forgot to mention? The sorority she's in is the same sorority Holly was in.
oh,
Because that's supposed
Changes
to.
things.
Yeah.
It's just a fun fact that I forgot about.
My
Okay.
opinion is
Ooh.
not
Add it to the
changing.
Survivor Maryland wiki.
On it.
Okay. Also, yeah, someone Laser Tiger keeps asking about Daniela. We didn't
Daniela.
talk about Daniela.
Okay.
Before we get to
Dan-
Emily, let's talk about Daniela.
Daniela, she's friends with Alex, and she got ditched by Alex.
Oh, right. She's the one that got ditched by Alex.
she got ditched by Alex.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when I looked
And
at that.
Dylan.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I also have a feeling she's not gonna go too far just because of the reason that like Dylan and Alex, well, mostly Dylan had problems trusting her. He said like he's worried that she would like say something that she's not supposed to. So I think people are gonna, if that's how other people feel, she's gonna go pretty early with people having that mindset that like, oh, we can't trust her with any secret information, you know?
All right, now finally, Emily. I can't believe, I'm surprised that like no one's mentioned her. She talked a lot in this episode.
Her earlier about like how she was saying how she was good at like some like mental competitions and about how like that's why she shouldn't be judged on this first competition. Like, and we did see her talking to some people, which is a good sign. Like, I wouldn't cut her out of the race yet, because coming out of this challenge, I felt personally kind of worried about her. Maybe that was just from like the confessionals I was getting where I wasn't feeling too confident in her. But afterwards, kind of seeing her, you know, she played a bit. She let herself be known as someone who shouldn't be judged by dragging a tire or other people across the lawn.
Yeah. I didn't really get a big impression from her, honestly. My opinion.
She seems like she has a good enough social game to stick around for a while, but there's nothing that popped for me either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one conversation with Abel was like one. I was like, they seem like they're friendly and they could like work together in the future. But other than that, I just saw the word dietetics pop up on my screen like every once in a while, and I just like, that's a funny word.
I wonder how she's perceived, because so the thing with Emily is she was advocating for like, oh, just keep the tribe strong. Let's get rid of a weaker girl like Meredith. But then at the same time, I think Matt had said like, oh, she's one of the weaker girls. Let's get rid of her. I wonder how she's perceived, if she's actually strong. She did well in the challenge. So I'm very confused as to where she lies on that spectrum. If she's going to be an asset, I don't know.
I honestly feel like she'll be here for a while, and I feel like she'll have more of an opportunity to make bigger moves down the road. I don't think that her first episode edit, not that I don't want to get into Edgic or anything, but like I don't feel like her first episode edit was huge and enough to like get her anywhere. But I can see her playing the game down the line. Like I feel like she's slowly setting a foundation for herself, which is good. It's what you want to do in these first couple rounds.
I'm looking forward to see who she aligns with, because I feel like she has a lot of options on that tribe for like who she can kind of stick to and gravitate towards, you know.
So someone asked a question in the comments. Survivor Guy 92 asked, does the winning team get a clue to the idol? Yes, I didn't include this in the first episode because I was a new host and I'm a dum-dum. But this season, if you win a challenge, your entire tribe gets an idol clue. Each tribe has an idol. So one tribe can get 4 clues. The other tribe will get 1. They're just separate idols. So right now, Base Squad, everyone in there has a clue to the idol. So Dylan and Alex weren't just running around campus throwing their hands into drains. I mean, they were, but they also had a clue. Thank you, Evan. I also like this tie. Okay, so I do. So we've talked about all these players. We've talked about how we feel about the tribes and all these choices. I'm curious, who do you guys, obviously it's hard to say after the first episode. Again, it's only an hour long. There's 19 people. Who do you guys think at this point could win? Who's your winner pick?
Meredith.
That's what I was going to say.
Meredith.
No, I would say Alex probably right now, just because she's not too big right now, so she's not setting herself up to be a huge threat, but she is making a lot of connections, which I think is exactly what you want to do at the beginning. And like for idols.
I was also going to say Alex. She's got a really good social game. And the thing with me is she's got that cross-tribal connection with Abel. And I'm seeing that's going to, you know, take some impact in the game later on, is what I'm assuming.
I was also going to say Alex. I think she had the best like first episode like edit by far. Don't want to go into the whole Edgic or whatever, but I just think that she has like out of everyone like the best chance of going like deep in the game. And whether that means winner, we'll find out.
Watch her go next episode.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I was going to say Alex too. I think that's a really cliche answer. But I mean, She's very well connected. I could also see like someone like a Kevel who's really well spoken, seems decently connected, but he wasn't in this episode a lot. Like someone like that, or even I'm missing one girl that I was thinking of. The girl who was sick. I actually really like her.
Susan.
Yeah, I actually really like her. So I don't know, not a winner pick, but as someone who I'm rooting for.
So after 4 people all said my exact answer,
Change it.
I'm gonna kind of change it up. I feel we could be seeing Michael for a while. Like I think with him not being on the complete bottom, he still has some wiggle room. Like he's up against what, like an alliance of 7 that's definitely gonna fall apart 3 seconds in. Like I feel like being on a tribe that I think is physically stronger thanks to Tony might be able to benefit him by not going to tribal. And then at that certain point, if you don't go to tribal for a couple rounds, people do start to get antsy. They do really just want to make a bigger move instead of picking off the people on the bottom. And I think that's when Michael can wiggle his way and get even more allies. And I don't even think he has to wait that long. I don't think he'll be on the bottom for long. And once he's kind of in more of a power position, I think he might stay there for a while.
All right, I've got 2 more things. The first one is, in this episode, we were introduced to 2 cross-tribal alliances. The Denton folk, Denton is the building that we all lived in, Swale, Michael, Thomas, Susan, and then also Abel and Alex. So how do we feel about these sort of pre-game existing alliances? I mean, this is a college Survivor. People are going to know each other. You know, despite how many people go to the University of Maryland, a certain group will always be attracted to Survivor. So, you know, for you hosts, how do you feel about these existing relationships? How much will it affect the game? And then Chris, as a player, how do you feel? And then Jack, as a superfan with the encyclopedia of Survivor Maryland knowledge, how do you feel?
I think cross-tribal alliances could work, but they're risky. And if you get to a point in a tribe swap where you have to choose like the alliance you made within your tribe and the alliance and like a cross-tribal alliance, that can kind of put you in a really tough position.
Kind of going off what Charlie said, at least from what I'm able to see from pre-made alliances going into a game like this, like they may be able to help you get past like the first like tribal or 2 because they're the relationships you already know. But then moving on past that, when you get swaps and you start playing with the people that you actually like want to play this kind of a game with, or once you get further down the line and you want to go to the end with who you can beat, that's when like those alliances start to crumble. So I think they're fine if you're in them for the first round or 2, but then after that is when I feel like most pregame alliances will fall apart.
Yeah, we have situations like in SDC where you've had cross-tribal alliances form from like the interviews that we do, because we always do like group interviews, and those ones never really pan out into anything. And if they might impact like slight moves here and there, but nothing really. I would say like I agree with saying the swap is really where cross-tribal alliances really impact the game, because then you get a real exchange of information and not just the occasional update from like one person who barely knows someone on the other tribe to the other. I think that's a weak tie.
Unlike this tie, which is a strong, beautiful tie.
Evan thinks so.
Fuck off, Greg.
So I'm going to go the opposite direction of this. I'm going to say it's a bad thing for him. I know when I played my first season, you know, me and Phil were best friends. Everyone knew that, and it put a huge target on our backs.
And Josh.
And Josh, everyone forgets Josh. But whereas in All Stars, I was by myself. You know, I could kind of do what I wanted. And you know, the 4 kids from Denton or whatever, they may think that they have that alliance hidden, but people are smart. People are going to realize that they all live on the same floor, the same building, or whatever, and it's going to make a huge target for all of them.
Some of them in the same room.
Yeah, that's not a good thing for him. That's a bad thing.
Yeah, and personally, I kind of have a vengeance against Denton Hall because I produced one of my least favorite Survivor Maryland winners. So, like, I love
which one. Who?
Terry.
They all were also in La Plata.
I
probably.
love Terry.
Terry was in La Plata.
He was? No,
he wasn't.
No, he wasn't then.
Okay.
Did we stump the encyclopedia?
No. Jack's right.
Oh, okay.
As always.
And so, I mean, like, I love the idea of cross-tribal alliances, especially in like a 2-tribe format. I think it could be really exciting. I mean, one of my favorite like cross-tribal alliances from like previous season was like the Renee, Matt, Katie, and Michelle alliance that didn't last at all. And
Your favorite anything involved Matt Kramer?
Okay.
I met Matt.
He was.
Sorry.
Wow, you've met a Maryland player too? And I just, I don't want to think about Matt. I'm done with my thought.
Speaking of Matt Kramer, Alex Kramer isn't related to him. They just have similar last names.
I will add that to the wiki.
I was really curious.
Charlie, were you going to say something? Oh.
Oh, right. Charlie, you did.
Yeah, I'm like,
okay.
you're in Survivor Maryland. And he's like, yeah. That was about it.
So my final question is, the next time on Survivor, even if we ignore whatever that was, we know that Tony is joining Ferocity, and we know that he is immune. He cannot be voted out at the next tribal they go to, which means Tony will be there no matter what. So how are we feeling, going into the next episode? What do we think will happen? How far do we think Tony will go? Is it like he'll survive one tribal and then the first opportunity they get to vote him out, it'll be 11 votes again against Tony?
I didn't realize he was immune at this first
either,
tribal.
yeah.
So
Do you think he'll give up immunity?
He could.
can he?
Yeah, can he?
He could.
Ooh.
Could he
Why
give it
not?
to the stronger people to inevitably join them?
Well, now that we know he made top 17, at least. Oh, that's scary. Oh,
God.
There's
Honestly,
I think there's a good chance. I think if he makes the swap, this is tough. I think if he makes like the swap or the merge, then he's gonna go deep into the game because who wouldn't want to take him to the end? Take Tony to the
loves
end.
to go deep.
I think like another standpoint, like God, of course, but I feel like he's so unpredictable at this point that I'd be too scared to take someone like him to the end, even if like no one might vote for him, which we don't know that yet. But that idea of unpredictability just terrifies me. But once again, viewing perspective, we need 30 Tonys. It would be fantastic to watch that. Give them all different hats and see how they play.
honestly, it'd be incredible to see him like make it far in the game because who knows? Maybe he could live long enough to become the hero.
Wow.
I don't know about that. I love Tony. He is by far the most entertaining person on the season, possibly in Maryland history. I can't see him making it past top 15. Not with that personality.
But you did it twice.
I did it. My personality is similar, but even I don't think that my personality is on Tony's level.
That's true, yeah. Tony doesn't smile.
He doesn't.
That's true. Yeah, he did seem very angry.
But the fact that he is a Cleveland sports fan, do you think that makes him better at losing?
No. We do not claim him. No. Take him away. I don't want him.
Why would you not want Tony? What? He's so entertaining.
I'm a Cleveland sports fan, and I don't need that.
He's exactly what you would want. He's your Maryland Survivor. He represents
I don't need that representation. Nope. I support the same teams as him. I don't know if I support Tony.
Yeah, I just don't see him going any further than maybe a tribe swap vote or two.
Well, I think if he makes it through this round, if he makes it through the beginning, he's going to be one of those guys that they'll go to flip against his own tribe because he's volatile. I think he's someone who he's going to want to shake things up, and you saw that in the preview. He's already everyone's joining. He's joining a tribe that already is oh my God, what's he going to do? So I think he's going to be scary if he does make it to a swap. I just don't. If that tribe loses again, I don't see any way that he maneuvers his way through. Also, we're not even talking about the best moment of Belle saying, Shayna. What?
I just want to know. I'm just curious to find out.
It was the very end.
Can I change my winner pick to Shayna?
Oh, the next time on?
Yeah, the next time on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know what that's about.
He goes, Shayna, you're a bitch.
I'm so interested. I'm just so intrigued to figure out what's going on there.
I feel like Abel definitely is going to get rubbed the wrong way. which prompts
I
me
would love
say
to see a rivalry between anyone and Shayna because I feel like it would just be so fun to watch Shayna tear them to shreds in a confessional, no matter who it is. Like, imagine at some point like Shayna and Tony being on opposite sides and like just being pissed at each other in a confessional. That's gold.
Think of the low energy. All right, so we're about to wrap up. So before we do, I want to give the hosts the opportunity to really plug their upcoming seasons and or future projects.
All right. Cool. So Survivor Boston season 3 is coming out January 24th, which is not this Thursday, but next Thursday. That's when the premiere is coming out. It's gonna be good. Yeah.
Coincidentally, I also have a show called Survivor Boston coming out January 24th. It's not this Thursday, but the following. Check it out.
You're really gonna have yours at the same time as mine, dude?
We got to talk this through.
Yeah, we gotta talk, man.
Man, you know how they talk about a comedy duo? You
Good
two are
bit,
not
right?
that. Anyways, Craig.
Oh God, if I had something to announce, I'd tell you. So Survivor Time and Change is on YouTube, the first season. I'm still editing season 2 and then getting to 3. I'm working on it. I'm sorry. I wish I could give you a date, but hoping possibly by summer to have that all out for season 2. Season 3 is going to be a while. But yeah, be on the lookout. I'll be posting stuff soon.
All right, do we have any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Hi, if anyone knows how to do anything on the wiki and wants to help me finish it, please help me. I'm one person.
A one-woman team.
A one-woman team, and I would appreciate all the help I can get because there are still many unfinished things that I would like to get done on it. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming in, watching this, commenting, doing whatever, liking, watching these videos.
Aren't
Again,
you going to let Chris pitch his season?
I don't know. Chris wasn't saying anything. I waited a moment. I know what I'm doing, Greg.
Did you want me to say something? I'm pitching Maryland Reunion Part 2 coming next summer, possibly. I'll be hosting with Anders, of course, and Danny.
Okay. Sure. So
Maybe I'll make it this time.
Maybe. So thank you everyone for watching. Keep supporting. We won't do a live show after every episode because there just won't be as much to talk about with, season 6 as with All Stars, but there will be another, hopefully after the merge episode, which I'm very excited for. That's a while. But thank you so much everyone for watching this. Keep supporting it. Share with all your friends. Subscribe. Comment. Smash that like button. You know what I'm saying? But again, thank you everyone for coming. I know it's late on the East Coast, losers. But have a great night and see you next week.